Hello, welcome to my campaign about college athletes getting paid. Well, recently, as far as July 1st, the NCAA announced a rule that lets all college athletes, student athletes, get paid from their name, image, and likeness. This new rule went in effect, as I already said, July 1st. And so far, it's players getting paid up to $500,000 off their endorsements. Why NCAA players should get paid? When you have coaches such as Nick Saban, Ed Orgeron, Dabo Swinney, Jimbo Fisher, and Coach Gus from Auburn University getting paid from $6 million to $9 million. These are the top 5 coaches' salaries. And you have student athletes who can't even after games get a nice meal or can't even go out to eat with their friends because they don't have money. Not everybody was blessed enough to come from a family of money, and a lot of these kids work super hard for the scholarship opportunity to get their families out of the situations that they're in, and they're not getting paid while coaches are getting paid this much money. These are almost professional contracts they're getting, and you telling me the schools can't help the players out a little bit? March Madness has made over $1.18 billion in 2019 from the tournament. Everybody knows what March Madness is. It's a basketball tournament that they have at the end of the year with the best teams. And this is how much money they made. They've made that much money. And at that time, college athletes still could not get paid. No one could pay for nothing. They can't even have jobs if you're on full scholarship. So you really to me, it's not fair that you're making this much money and the coach is making that much money, but your kids can't make any money until now, just off endorsements, which is a great rule that they have. Pros and cons of this situation. You still have to figure out how they're going to do this. Even though the rule is set, you still have to figure out how they can do it, how they can do it where you don't have a lot of arguments going on, because you are going to have the starting quarterbacks, and the starting players and the backups might make a lot off endorsements. You have the third strings and the fourth strings, who I think should have a fair chance of getting the endorsement money too. How can they do that? They're just trying to figure it out, because every state has a different little law. Every state has their own. Florida and Texas has their own, which I'll explain later in the video. But this is how you have ex-football player Tim Tebow. He's an ex-Heisman winner, plays in the NFL right now, plays for Florida Gators. He actually doesn't agree with this. He believes that college students should not get paid. He thinks it's going to take the love out of the game, which you can say that a little bit, but college athletes definitely still deserve to get paid. Another problem they have is when your starting quarterback is getting paid $500,000 while your third string isn't getting paid nothing. How can that give locker room problems? How can that affect the team, affect the players who aren't getting as much money off the endorsements or who aren't getting paid at all? How are states going about it? In Texas, it says, that athletes can get paid, but they cannot get paid off endorsing alcohol, tobacco products, casino gamblings, or any of those things. While in Florida, the law states that the law forbids a college from preventing an athlete from obtaining professional representation with an agent or attorney. So basically, the agent must be licensed for even to do any of those things. How should they do it? I think schools should handle how much the players get paid and how to distribute the money. Or, for example, the big-time players, they all probably have their own little thing going on compared to the smaller players who don't play a lot. I feel like that's when the schools should come in and help. They should, endorse the kids on the social media, because social media is such a big thing, such a big platform. Any commercials and stuff, they should have the kids in it, or anything that involves, the school. They should have, the people who don't play a lot, the people who are not as blessed to have as many endorsements as the starters do. To me, another thing that might happen is the egos. The egos might clash between players and coaches, not the head coaches, but more as like assistant coaches and the 19-year-olds who are getting paid $500,000 or around that. Because, there's obviously going to be some players that will end up making more money than assistant coaches. And egos will clash, I think, eventually. Don't know when, but eventually. How can smaller schools do in this system? Small schools can actually do great. I feel like it's going to be easier in basketball to do because of the platforms that basketball has, such as March Madness, which allows all mid-major schools to get in there. So I think that's going to help a lot with the mid-majors. They can go, and I even seen a couple kids in our conference, NAIA, sign little endorsement deals because at the end of the day, it's just trying to get exposure. And you start off now making a little bit of money, and then in a couple years you can end up making more money. How can this all work out? In football, for example, at a small HBCU school, Jackson State, Deion Sanders has actually helped a lot of his players get endorsement deals, from linemen to skill players. He just wants to make sure that all his players get a fair chance. And I think more coaches should look at Deion Sanders and continue to do the things that Deion Sanders does, simply because he's really trying to do right for the players. He's really trying to help the players connect with the outside. If you're trying to play professionally, he's trying to put them in all the blocks to succeed in life. And here's my works cited page.